It's about Graham time. We hop on another podcast. I'm your host, Christian Graham.
And Stephanie Graham.
And, today is actually
Our anniversary.
our wedding anniversary. Ding, ding, ding. 3 years we've been together. 410, 2021 is when we got married. And yeah, we're actually recording this on 410, 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm actually still recovering from a cold or from a flu, really. That it started to it took me out for like a couple days and then it got better and then it just took out from my throat and now it's like hard to like talk a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't hurt to talk, but
it's just not coming out in the full Christian.
which I don't understand because like I don't feel anything in my throat either.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like,
it's probably just irritated.
Could be irritated.
I mean, there's so many different factors for your recovery because, yeah, you essentially got the flu, and then when you did get better, you were back out there in like either hot weather, cold weather, windy weather, and it was hot, dry weather.
Yeah.
Right. And then at home, just with the AC or the heater on, it's like it's just all
and
over
the
the
window
place.
open, and then like by the time we know it, it's like 40 degrees outside or like 30 something degrees outside in the middle of the night, and then we wake up and stuff. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, coming back into the lab, like just 2 days after, taking a little bit of time off to recover, and then like immediately jumping back into this environment where it's like it fluctuates a lot because it's in the warehouse and stuff. And so, yeah,
it plays a lot on our health.
Yeah.
Just San Diego weather, and then the warehouse environment, and then the home environment, and just going back and forth between these different places, and then walking out, and you don't even know, walking out of these buildings, and you don't even know what environment you're really walking into, going in to another place. It all just adds up.
Yeah.
And this is what we got.
And this is what we got. So I'm going to rock with it. And as long as, my, voice starts to recover over these next, couple of days, / weeks, because we have some pretty important, things coming up, podcasts, interviews and things like that we're going to be, hopping on and being a part of. I definitely want to be, 100 by then, hopefully, because I don't want to sound like a little kid.
I wonder. I wonder if I should instigate a fight with you, just so you can go, and then I mean,
yeah, like right now it's a little bit deep because I'm like really trying to.
I like it. I like the deep voice. It's like when you first wake up.
Yeah.
You're like. I mean, I could get deep. So you're like, good morning, and I'm like, oh, hey.
Got a little sexy man.
Okay, never mind. No. But yeah, so I guess speaking on our 3 years of marriage so far, I was washing dishes earlier, and I was thinking, I was like, let me ask Christian this question. And I guess I'm still forming the question, so humor me, bear with me. But 2 weeks into us dating, you said I love you first. 2 weeks.
Is that verified? I don't think so. No. Yeah.
Yeah, about
okay.
3 weeks.
We'll see.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
well, you said I love you, right? And going on into our first couple months, you had already committed in your heart to me, to God. And for me at that time, it was I was in a whole different headspace. So I didn't really take it seriously, but you did in your heart. And I guess I wanted to ask, could you elaborate on that? And what was that commitment, and before marriage? Because we were together in at the end of 2016, and we didn't get married till 2021. So, but you proposed in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess in those first couple of years, how was that like commitment for you?
So there's a lot of math going on here. Now, like the commitment of saying I love you at the beginning first, or are you talking about like over the next couple years? You know what that commitment looked like over the couple years before we got engaged and then after we got engaged. Like what part in particular?
Well, because you said, I already committed in my heart to God.
Mm-hmm.
And so what did you commit in your heart? Early on, before the wedding vows, before you proposed, really early on into our relationship.
I mean, that kind of good question, I guess. That kind of just goes back to what it was before marriage or before even dating and before um, pursuing you in courtship and dating and a relationship is the commitment I made to God, like prior to, because it was a lot of, you know, just foolery going on,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, early on, prior to dating you. And so like I went on a year and a half, 2 year commitment. Um and I told God, like, I'll surrender all of this, and the next woman that you bring into my life, that person is going to have like all of me, and it's going to be um a commitment, like it's going to be like the last, like, and that's something that he like revealed to me during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like 2 years prior to you. And so like I guess like as time went on, we were still just friends and super platonic and everything, going to the gym together and just hanging out. And then I guess as time went on, and then you had actually exited out of your previous relationship.
Mm-hmm.
um it was just like we were already clicking
Mm-hmm.
as good friends, and then we just like eventually I just had the courage to ask you out as a friend taking out another friend, quote unquote, a friend taking out another friend. That's really what it was that night. And then
Mm-hmm.
eventually like feelings and drinks got involved, and we just like hit it off. I felt, or you know I mean, it apparently that's what happened, because here we are
Mm-hmm.
8 years later in our full relationship.
Right.
3 years married, but we've been together 8 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, that's kind of the long-winded response as to how I think I got committed to you. Was it was and my commitment to God was, it was like long before you were even in the picture.
Mm.
Yeah.
I ask that because when I reflect on the early stages of our relationship and where I was at emotionally, mentally, it wasn't a good place.
Right.
I wasn't even in church.
Right.
Um, my previous relationship really led me out of the church and into a whole bunch of different things. And so even going into our relationship early, I mean, early on, I guess as just friends, we knew that we were Christians,
Right.
but we weren't living a Christian lifestyle. And then, and I wasn't. And so when I talk about reflecting early on, all the things in the tail end of my relationship, my ex relationship, and going into ours
Mm-hmm.
so soon, and then the following year of 2017, the whole year of partying, drinking, DJing, right?
Right.
I I wasn't easy. I wasn't like an easy person to really love. And so
Right.
I'm like, how really was that for you? Because if it was me, me dating someone like me, I'm like, I'm gone.
Mm.
This is too much for my own health,
Mm.
so.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at it from both sides of the coin too. Like even even in the midst of like knowing like I really did love you, I had strong feelings for you. I wanted to, make you already, I already had visions of you being my wife very early on, you know, and stuff. So even in the midst of all of that, I was still so, you know, so imperfect myself.
Mhm.
And I was still like emotionally damaged or, hurt or just messed up, in my own ways. And that also was reflective, early on or just, throughout the earlier parts of our relationship. It was like, it was very, very unstable at the beginning because we
Mhm.
were both very unstable people.
I mean,
Em-
we were at 21, when we got together, we were at
yeah.
21, 20, and then that next year.
And then the next month
Mhm.
I turned 21
Mhm.
after we started dating.
So we're young.
Yeah, we were
We're
super young.
young, immature. I mean, mature in some, immature in a lot of other things.
Right. Like
As any other
definitely
21-year-old.
in hindsight, I think with the knowledge that we have now and just the experience that we have now and what we would pass down onto our daughters or, other like our god kids or whatever it may be, or just nieces and nephews, is like really take that time to, you know, really heal and
Mhm.
to just wait on God.
Mhm.
And when I say wait on God, I'm talking about intertwining yourself. The Hebrew word for wait, believe it's kavah, but it's to intertwine yourself with God.
Mhm.
So really taking that time to wait on God, intertwine yourself with God, and to focus on Him, and seek first the kingdom and His, Him and His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be added to it. So it's like it's just really taking that time to seek out God, draw near to God, um, and the world will say, seek first yourself and love yourself.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I feel like that's what we did.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we were very
Definitely.
much, though we were Christian, like we were saved. Like
Mhm.
we looked at God and Jesus, and we knew like we had a savior. We knew that we were going to heaven because we had accepted Christ in our life, but we didn't really position him as Lord over our life to
Mhm.
to really give him that honor and respect to say, nah, like we lay it at your feet. We lay all of it at your feet.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You can have all of us. Like we were so young and selfish and naive. And also just because we got saved early, I think,
Mhm.
in our teens,
Mhm.
that we had this different depiction of what faith really looked like. You know what I mean? Even though we had years, quote unquote, years of experience being and walking alongside God, we were taking so many different turns and trying to justify our sin
Mhm.
in so many different ways because we were just ignorant to his
Mhm.
sovereignty, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I'm 28. Next month I'm going to turn 29,
Mm-hmm.
but not until very recently. I'm talking maybe 2 years ago, maybe a year ago, did I understand savior and lordship.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
before that it was just walking and being saved by grace,
Right.
you know? And it's, I guess, as you mature in your faith, you really begin to understand that concept because those are two separate things
Right.
that do work together.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. and I hope I answered your question. Um, and I guess while we're on this topic is, what really like got you going with wanting to be with a man like me that early on, even in the midst of, your like healing process and trying to really find yourself and doing the whole self-love thing and um yeah, just like what did that look like, and why did you eventually just stick around? I know it wasn't like the most perfect love at the beginning and stuff like that, and we still have to
Even
grow.
thereafter,
Right.
it was it was,
It's been such a journey.
it has been such a journey. But, early on, when I exited my previous relationship, there was a lot that I took into account of, like, I don't want to date or be with a person like this. It doesn't fit with my values. And so you were already a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we had our friend taking out a friend date, it wasn't, the intention was for me just to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
On Facebook, I posted, I'm like, I don't miss the person, but I do miss talking to somebody. That was like a post that I had on Facebook, and some friend said, what, just have fun during this time.
Mm.
Use this time to heal, girl. And she's all hyping me up, and she's like, yeah, honestly, like, if you want to sleep around, sleep around. If you want to do this, go party, go drink, go do that. Just take this time to just have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay. So whatever opportunity came my way, I was
Mm-hmm.
like gonna just take it and embrace it.
Mm.
So that was where my head was at. And so when you asked me, I said, well, I don't want to date.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to have fun.
Right.
And that didn't mean go have sex.
Mm-hmm.
That just meant go enjoy someone's company, because what I missed was companionship.
Right.
After talking to someone every day and then that being cut off, I mean, even the end of that relationship, we weren't talking and having conversations
For like a couple months or
for a
something like
couple
that.
months. It was just like a good morning, good night. But still, just not having that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, now I'm sitting alone in my thoughts.
Mm.
And I didn't like that. And so with you, not only did we have a really good first date, how would I put this? I think you really showed your heart. Like, you're not only like did you show your intentions, but you showed so much more than yourself.
Mm.
Like, man. Okay. So right now, that I'm writing a book for my girls.
Right.
And so I put this in there, and I shared all my past relationships, and I said, these were like the red flags
Mm-hmm.
of them. This is what I said. This is my deal breaker.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no ambition. There was nothing further than themselves.
Mm.
But with talking to you, you had bigger goals, bigger than what you wanted, not only for you, but for your future family and for your family right now, for your community, for your friends.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I started. I was like, I want that in my life, because I don't have anybody in my life who thinks that way, aside from them taking care of them.
Mm.
And so that's where I can say that was like the beginning point. Now, all that afterwards, I think I was a little delulu.
Yeah.
I think I was, because it was a bunch of like pushing and pulling back.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't think we should do this. I don't think we should pursue this. I'm still like healing. I'm still all over the place. But then we'll meet up, we'll talk, and then I'm just like, I really like this person.
Yeah.
I'm just messed up right now, you know?
Yeah. And that's, I think that's one of the big things is like we can, it's not that we're, any better people being Christians. It's that we know that through our faith we are jacked up, and we can acknowledge all of the messed up things, all of the impurities, and all of the mess that we have, and put it on display, and give it to God. You know what I mean? Like we don't have to hold it to ourselves, and or look into other things to try to, you know, heal from those things. Like we literally are just messed up people in certain times, and or most of 99.99% of the time, and we give it to God. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And even in our walk, and even through marriage, even through, our courtship, to engagement, to marriage, even up until, like, maybe this past few months,
Mm-hmm.
maybe past, 6 months or a year, maybe less, um did we actually really start getting on a track of being like one accord,
Mm-hmm.
like really just being a unit, and I think that's one of the bigger reasons why we're able to even be here right now, and have these very vulnerable conversations, and transparent conversations, and it be okay, because um we know how to kind of navigate those waters now, because it's just the navigation is just pointing towards God.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have to look any further, and try to, oh, what is this actually telling me? Like, is this rejection and dejection? Like, is it this or that? Is it this and that? Is it no, like it doesn't even matter. Like just give it to God. Like just surrender it, and what does scripture have to say? What does
Mm-hmm.
Jesus have to say? Let's pray over this. Let's go commune together. Like let's go get back on one accord, and really this understanding of what it looks like to be equally yoked in that way, where it's like our love and respect for each other is more of an unconditional thing now,
Mm-hmm.
where we just continue to love and respect each other regardless, even if this, and even if Christians like this, or even if Steph is doing this, doesn't even matter, because we're all we're all gonna slip up, and we're all sinners. We're all gonna fall short, to the glory of God. Romans 3. But God remains faithful even when we're not,
Right.
even when we're unfaithful. You know what I mean? And so you just have to, I think that's kind of just the season and position, sorry, and posture. Sorry. Everyone take off your headphones right at 23-0.2 timestamp.
I
No.
felt the wind.
No, I'm so sorry. I'm so sick. Or not so sick, but my throat is so jacked. I need to stop talking.
Water break? You need a water break?
Yeah, seriously. Um no, but yeah. Does that answer what we were talking
You're the one
about?
who asked the question.
Did I answer my own question? I don't even know anymore. Oh man.
Your voice went up an octave.
Yeah, it's bad. Um
Sounds good though.
yeah. So I guess moving forward now from like our early time together, to engagement, then what was it, the pressures of me asking you live on radio that made you say yes? Or was it just no, you already knew, and you've been waiting for me to say this or ask this question and propose to you, because I proposed to you. For those of you that don't know, I proposed to Steph on Magic 92.5 with Javier the X-Man during a live show, and Javier is like, he's down on both knees.
He was down on one knee.
Yeah, I was down on one knee for the facts, okay? Yeah, I proposed to you on the show, on on live on air on radio, and people eventually ended up coming to Smack In and being like, "Hey, I just heard you guys propose. Congrats!" and all this stuff. But what made you at that point realize? I guess maybe for these couples that are like, you know, hesitant or maybe on the verge of, you know, considering, getting engaged or getting this ring for their future spouse, or this I guess from the female perspective, this woman that maybe like, oh, maybe I should get out of this relationship, or what kind of drew you to know
Just to,
that,
why I said yes.
of why you gave that yes. And
well, it wasn't the pressure of being on Magic 92.5 because you were my ride home.
Thank God.
No, it wasn't that, because well, let me stop real quick. We went to IHOP earlier today.
Yes.
To eat some breakfast.
For our breakfast, yes.
But back then, when I was pregnant with Aaliyah, I had actually proposed to Christian with a straw ring that I made.
Yes.
This was in like mid 2018, end of 2018. I don't know where we were at this point.
Right, like a year and a half, 2 years.
And that's when I proposed to him in IHOP. And I was serious. And I was also very hormonal. So when I did, I made this ring. He didn't even know what I was doing. And then I presented it to him. Because it doesn't matter the ring, what it is. It's the symbol.
Right.
He stared at it. He stared at it and didn't say anything. He's just smiling. And man, my dignity just was drained. I'm just holding it and tears start coming down. And the servers and people are looking at us.
Yeah.
Because at this point, I'm a crying pregnant woman.
In the middle of IHOP.
In the middle of IHOP at this booth being rejected.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Christian, he was like, "Are you serious? Are you like," because I don't joke around. I'm like, "Who said I'm joking?"
Yeah.
Anyways, so I had already committed to Christian in my heart at some point. Like, this is the person I want to move forward with. Now it's just a matter of when. So that was in 2018. I had Aaliyah December 30th, 2018. We go through the motions of
Opening
Smackin', right? So acquiring the space February 28th, 2019, and then we're building it out. We open, and on October 18th is during the first Magic 92.5.
Right.
So when he asked me, the answer was already going to be yes. It was
because
just
you had already proposed to me.
I already
without
proposed.
me knowing that it was an actual proposal. I was like, there's no way you're actually serious, right? And then she's like literally like just bawling in the middle of IHOP, just making me look like the biggest douche ever. And I'm like, there's no way you're serious right now, because I'm like, I'm old school when it comes to all of that. Like,
but
as far as like, I'm old school when it comes to, asking your hand from your parents or from, the elder, of your family and stuff like that. Like, you had mentioned to me prior to, okay, let me just set this story, straight as to why I can't say yes to this paper ring, even though it doesn't matter if it's gold or aluminum or a paper clip or paper. like Steph said, it's just a symbol. But let me lay this foundational story. Is early on, 2016, 20 early, yeah, 2016. The maybe 2 months into our relationship, you had told me like the most important men in your life, and that if you were to ever get married, that these men would be the men that you would want to either walk you down the aisle and or for me to like get permission from because you hold them to such a high standard,
Mm.
right? And so if I were to be that type of man, or in order for you to be in a relationship, I would need to be a type of man that is equal to or greater than these type of people that you hold at this level,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I'm like, all right, cool, bet, like, challenge on, right? And so this whole time I'm trying to make sure that like I'm doing my my damn near best that I can in my abilities to be the man that's greater to or equal to these people, these men. And this is just to go on record, it's Uncle T, it's your grandfather, it's but your grandfather wasn't around then. Um and Big Sean and your dad.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, all right, cool, bet. So challenge on. I'm gonna go in and just show you, and give you evidence as to how I am who I say I am. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And so it was because of that, knowing that I can't say yes because I never asked them,
Mm-hmm.
because I needed their okay before I can then pursue you to that level. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So I'm contractually binded, right? In the state of California, when you make a verbal agreement, you are contractually binded to hold true to your word. But I'm also just, a man of my word.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I'm keeping this as a mental note in the back of my head, you know, however much time goes by. And so I'm not going to say yes because I need to make sure that these people also know and acknowledge that I'm this man for her. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so, thankfully, by the time I did ask, these people were already aware because I had gone to them
Mm-hmm.
and told them, hey, I'm going to be asking, you know, your daughter or niece hand in marriage, and do you give me your blessing? You know what I mean? You had no idea. I think at that point we had already looked at the ring, and we had we had already picked out the ring and stuff like that, and Smacking was thankfully like doing super well then. So I was like, all right, bet, like we can get this. She went with the freaking most expensive thing.
No,
No,
I
but
didn't. I could have gone more expensive.
yeah, she could have. But anywho, yeah, we had already picked out the ring and everything, and so yeah, that's just to lay that foundational story as to why I can't accept
Mm-hmm.
that paper ring.
I
But that
respect it.
that doesn't go to the audience that may be listening to this as to like, hey, if you guys are committed, men out there, women out there, either side of the party that wants to do this proposal, if it's really if this is what God is really calling you to, like, it doesn't matter whether it's no ring at all, nothing at all. You know what I mean? Because it's not about the material possessions that hold you back. It's about keeping covenant with one another. Um, and so,
That's so. I guess kind of going back, it's the reason I even proposed in the first place is not because I just want to be with you.
mhm,
It was we are entering a lot of lifelong choices together. Not
right,
only raising this child, but now
starting this business
we're about
together.
to start this business together.
Mhm,
Together.
mhm,
And I'm making all of these choices
You had
with a
quit your
with a
job.
boyfriend.
Yeah.
I'm about to quit my job.
You had already quit your job.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm quitting my job. Now I'm in this such an unstable or unstable
Compromisable position.
right. And I'm following this guy based off of his word,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And
You're being led by just straight faith.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I need, for me, for the sake of our family, and we need, or I need commitment.
Mm-hmm.
I need
Assurance.
I need that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I asked for your hand
Mm-hmm.
first, because I didn't know when you were. I didn't know if it was going to be, because I've read stories. I've seen people. I know people who spent 10 years without that kind of, you know, commitment,
Right.
right? But they say they kept their commitment through words, and then something happens and they just walk away.
Right.
But
I mean, yeah, no, I definitely see that. And I can definitely acknowledge that. And you probably had people whispering in your ear too, like, this guy is going to uproot you and everything.
yeah,
And like, I don't doubt those people. And I hear the stories as well. But like, it's just, I don't know. I applaud you for one, just sticking through with me. But um, I'm not someone that just rides off of emotion.
I knew that of your character. So like I already took your character into account, like, and we were already back in church.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless of what you decided to do as an individual, I knew I was going to be okay and I had support behind me.
Mm-hmm.
But in between us, I wanted the commitment before we made any more life choices.
Right.
And so that's why I pushed.
Yeah, and that's important too, you know. I I definitely see where you were coming from, but that's the reason why, like, on my end, as to why I can't make that type of commitment to you like that in those terms, because that's very impulsive,
I'm an impulsive
and
person.
you are an impulsive person, and I'm not. I'm laying out, because like you said, like, we were doing all these things.
That was an air bubble.
We were doing all these things that were already kind of like going off script, going unplanned, with after graduation, had different plans ahead. And then, we had just found out, like, the month before, walking the stage at state, that we were pregnant. You know what I mean? And then, like, that part of it, and just even having sex outside of marriage and stuff like that, like, all of these things were all things that I didn't really think was going to be a part of this next part of my journey, in a relationship. And it just kind of happened. And, we just kept rolling with the punches, like, slowly but surely. But, yeah, I don't know. It's not a part of my character, like you said, to make this type of decision, because I'm planned, I'm structured, like, I have goals, like you said, like, ambition, and just knowing that God wants to use me, a man like me, to just do good work onto him, and that's for all people. But I just knew that early on, in my youth, that, like, he really wanted to use me in a special way, in a variety of ways. And I didn't plan on having kids until 28, like around this age. And now we're working on 3, you know what I mean? And we didn't even plan on having a restaurant at first, and until, years down the road, after we had settled things in and had, like, real estate, you know what I mean, portfolio or whatever it may be. And now it's like we're going completely kind of off script, you know what I mean, where we got the restaurant, or we got pregnant first, and then we got the restaurant, and then we got married, and then we got another child, and then we got the lab. We went through a global pandemic, you know what I mean? And then now and now we're starting this new venture, and then we have another child. And so it's been unorthodox, to say the least, of the ways that we've gone about life. However, um, yeah, these are kind of the things that I had in mind in terms of our engagement, in terms of just like those type of traditional type things that I had in mind. I wanted to kind of stay close to that. You know what I mean?
I can respect that.
So then now, so this is what got you to say your yes. So now, being married, what about marriage is different to you than being engaged or being in a relationship? What has changed for you? What has been eye-opening to you about marriage? What is special about marriage? Just why marriage?
In today's world, marriage doesn't make sense if God's not in it.
Mm.
And because God is so important to me, and we have lived an unorthodox lifestyle.
Mm.
But just because of that doesn't mean God's plan has changed. His purpose for us has changed.
Right.
So I think, as kind of going into back into the Christian lifestyle, or the way God had intended, is why I value marriage, and not just staying engaged and being content with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with saying yes to the proposal, and okay, now you have intention.
Mm-hmm.
But being married, saying our vows, holding each other accountable, and having those who love us surround us and keeping us accountable, being a witness to what we have pledged to each other, what we have said in our covenant to each other, that holds so much weight to me. And keeps me, and this not all the time, but it does keep me grounded in what we are together for.
Mm-hmm.
And so, excuse me. And so, why marriage? I can go to sleep at night knowing I'm secure, knowing I am protected, knowing that I have somebody who has made a covenant and commitment towards me, and that I can go through life, the rest of my life, or the rest of our lives, however long that be, with somebody who I can trust, with somebody who has the best intent towards growing alongside me. Because not a lot of people can say that, you know?
Right.
But, okay, so in Ecclesiastes, pretty much it said that two is better than one. For if one falls down, the other can help him up. But pity the one who has nobody to help him up. And so, and that isn't just marriage. That's also in friendship. That's also in relationship.
Right.
But I think just having us, we have each other to do that. And just like you said the other day, sometimes like I'm operating on 1% and you're like taking the 99, or vice versa. But we're partners, we're best friends, we're lovers, we're married, we're business partners, we're parents together. And so I know I have somebody who has my back. And that's why I love marriage. You know, it's not hard. It's not easy because we have different schools of thought in different areas. And navigating that is like difficult sometimes.
Right.
It's really difficult.
Right.
But the intent behind it, it's only to make each other better.
Right.
You know, it's and the intent and the love behind it. It's at the end of the day, this is my life partner. This isn't my enemy. This isn't somebody who is trying to one up me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, we're doing this together.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I see it.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, I appreciate the vulnerability and the response, like very deep thought and process behind
That's why it took so long.
it. No, it's important, you know, because you're giving a real raw, authentic answer, you know, to everything that you say. And so yeah, it's not a cookie cutter answer, you know what I mean? I think I agree 100%. And I just want to add on that, you know, it's important, like we've been talking about, is keeping covenant with one another. Like, it's like you had alluded to it earlier, but you kind of go from this playful space, which is courting, dating. You know, it's cool, it's colorful, it's fun, it's exciting, it's new, you know, and then you go into this place of intention, you know, of okay, now I'm setting my eyes like just strictly on you, and I'm, you know, my intentions are set on us, and growing together, and growing each other to grow towards God. And then in marriage, now you have this covenant between two people where now you're committed to one another, right? So you go from playful, colorful, you know, joyful, like whatever, like just it's there, you know, like
Fun, exciting.
yeah, you're kind of able to kind of just like, you know, free flow, do what you want to do, and then like I said, you go into intention, and then you go into commitment, right? And so this commitment that you make between two people, or you know, between us, is just that level of, man, like we really are in it, you know, and it's not based off of the emotions that we feel from day to day. You know, some days are going to be higher than others, and some days are going to be the lowest of lows, you know, and it's how do you continue to weather those storms by, and for us, it's easy. It's so easy because we just give it to God. I think where a lot of marriages kind of fall short is either one, they're just looking for, instead of going from intention to commitment, they're going from intention to companionship, you know, or they're going from intention to contract. You know what I mean? And or from intention to partnership. Those things aren't stable. Those aren't a firm foundation. Those things are just waiting for you to say, "Oh, I don't enjoy your company anymore. Bye." "Oh, you said you were gonna do this. You know, it's in our contract. You know, we had wrote it down. We went to the courthouse. We did these things. You know, we signed a prenup. We did all these things. Like, you're not abiding by the contract. You know what I mean? This lifestyle of living in pursuit of God, like you said, in today's world, it doesn't make sense outside of God, because now you put yourself in such a vulnerable position, financially speaking, and other things, where if you're not making this covenant where you're growing together to grow towards God, then that's all that marriage is really rooted on, is that covenant. You know what I mean? Like, this is my bride, you know, and like, I am to love her as Christ loves the church. That is so much more, like you said, the word you used was weight, than, oh, I'm with her because I love her and she does these things for me, and because it feels good, and because I had great intentions with her, she had great intentions with me. um we had all of these things mapped out for our lives, and we used to do so many cool things and went on so many different adventures, and now she doesn't want to, or vice versa. you know um you can really put everything else in place of that, and it's never gonna stand
Mm-hmm.
to the weight of committing your marriage to a covenantal relationship with your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Right.
And so yeah, that's my take on why, the only reason why you are in a marriage, and how you even form a marriage,
Mm-hmm.
is by doing that, you know. Um but I thank you for 3 years, even as unorthodox, as crazy, uphill battled, strong-willed, just headache and stress and everything the above that I've provided to you, all of my mess, that you have stuck it through, stayed true to your commitment to me and to God, and trusting God, and having your faith just drawing near to Him, and not towards less firm
Don't make me cry.
things. Um,
I don't have tissues.
and so, yeah, with that being said, I love you. I love you. I love the life that we are building alongside Christ and with Christ leading it. Let me just take that back. Not even alongside Christ, with Christ leading every single thing, and just placing everything that we have on this firm foundation. Um, and my goal is to love you, to respect you, to honor you, and to serve you, and to be, to submit my life onto Christ, and onto you, and how we can continue to better serve each other moving forward. And I hope that I get to do that for another bajillion years. Um, Not realistic, but these past 3 years have been great. And so, yeah, I want to have a bajillion more with you. And so thank you for also allowing us this time to be able to do what I enjoy most in having a conversation, and to do it on a podcast, because this is where I really, I've been called to really step into, with God wanting to use this side, um, to just like really use me, and my gift. And so, especially on our wedding anniversary day, you know, um, yeah. So thank you.
Ditto.
Ditto.
I
Perfect.
can't. I can't top that.
What do you,
I'm not good with words.
you just kind of do what you do, but if that's it, that's cool. You have anything you want to add before we sign off?
Yes. Just something small, but you know, I love you. I immensely appreciate you because time and time again, you are a man of your word. You are a man of honor. And so where I have just had nothing to give you, especially these past couple months, like, you know, I'm on the bed and I'm just like, I'm useless. You have showed up time and time again, just reaffirming your unconditional love for me and just remaining a stronghold with the strength of God backing you for a family. And I don't have just the words, but tons of packed emotion just to say thank you. I am so, so proud of the man you are. Oh, dang, my voice is gonna get deep. But I am so proud of the man you are, the man who you've become, and the man that you are being shaped by God to be. And I love the journey thus so far, and also just being able to, one, watch you on the sidelines, be alongside you, and root for you, because there's so much that I'm witnessing in such a short amount of time, you know, in these past couple of weeks and past years, that I'm so proud. You know, I love the fact, I'm so blessed that I get to be a witness to people calling up my husband and talking about Jesus. People calling up my husband, hey, I need some advice. People calling up my husband and saying, hey, can you help me?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're like the first person a lot of people call to talk, to have conversation, to pick your brains about something because you're so knowledgeable, to get advice, or just to be a listening ear.
Mm-hmm.
And for me to say, that's my husband. That's my part. That's the person I chose. I get first priority to this guy who does all that for me, but that all these people that I know go to him too.
Mm-hmm.
And that is hard. That could be hard sometimes, because I'm like, man, we got to go. We got to do this. But on the same token, on the other side of that token, it's like these people also just reaffirm how great of a person you are. And I'm just like, dude, I'm married to that man. And I didn't think it was going to be like that in high school. I was so annoyed with you. I was like, this guy is in everybody's business. He is all up in everyone's business. But, you know, after getting to know you these past couple years, it's not because you're nosy. It's not because you just want to know things. It's because you are genuinely concerned and you love these people. Mm-hmm. Even if you just met them, you want to get to know them. Where I'm like, I shy away, you know? And so it's
more introverted.
A little bit more introverted.
Yeah.
But all that to say is just, I admire you so much. And if I didn't say that recently, I'm going to say it now on this podcast. I love you. I love the man who you are. And I am excited, and I pray for many more years together.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, and just real quick, actually, too, is I'm not a great man without being in the Spirit, without having the Spirit of God, like without giving my life to Christ and to walk in that light. Like, I wouldn't care about anything or anyone on that type of level, and show that much concern or anything like that if it wasn't for Christ. Like if I'm in my flesh and if I'm in just who I used to be, like I was like not even remotely ready for any of this. And so all glory to God. You know, it's nothing of me. You know, there's nothing good of me when I'm in my flesh, and so all glory to God, you know. I think also too, I just want to acknowledge like early on in our relationship, people had said like, you know, what did you do to change him? You know, like my friends would be like, he's changed so much. Christian's changed so much. Like, what did you do? Like, what did Steph do? What does she like have that like has changed this man? You know what I mean? Like this person, this guy, because he used to be so. I was just, I was
I
bad.
mean, is that for better or for worse when they ask?
Oh no, they're always like, you know, he used to be messing around, fooling around. You know what I mean? I was like, I was that type of person, and then like it seemed like right after like, you know, us being together, you know, shortly after, like, you know, I just turned into this man that wanted to pursue you and you alone and your heart and God, you know? And my answer to that, to go on record, is that it's nothing of Steph. That like I love Steph to death, but it's not Steph that changed me. It's Jesus and Jesus alone that changed my heart and is constantly transforming my heart to be better. Steph is amazing and she is my wife, she's my bride, she is my partner, she's everything outside of Christ to me. But it is not there's nothing that a person can do in your life ever to be able to transform you and change you to do good good or bad. It is your relationship with Christ and Christ alone that can transform your heart. And I just need to put that on record as well, you know. And so with that being said, it's about Graham time we get out of here. Really practicing these. But thank you guys for listening so much and allowing us to get vulnerable in front of you guys. Happy 3 years to you, my love. Like I said already, I appreciate you and all that you are and all that you do, but all that you are before all that you do. And yeah, like I said, it's about Graham time we get out of here. So I'm your host, Christian Graham.
I'm Stephanie Graham.
Peace.
Bye.